What's up, Metal Brethren? This is Scott Tanic One coming at you again live from the dungeon with something that was a bit of a departure from my normal album reviews and discussion videos and whatnot. I'm going to call this the Seven Discs of Hell Beginner's Guide to Metal. What I've really done here is kind of like a hypothetical situation. It's going to be like someone comes up to you and asks you, hey man, I'm new to metal, so recommend me some albums. So what I'm going to do with this video in particular is recommend 7 albums from the classic period of metal, classic bands, more mainstream acts. There's one that's not so mainstream, but we'll get into that when I get to it. But just 7 recommendations of 7 classic albums that I think everyone should own. Pretty much a starter kit for anyone who's wanting to get into metal. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get started on this. You can't really talk about metal at all without name dropping this band. This band started the genre. I don't care what anyone says. These guys developed the sound that would just carry on to all other bands. And without further ado, let's get started. Black Sabbath, Master of Reality. This is probably my favorite album that they did with Ozzy. The stuff they did with Ronnie James Dio is really great too, but at the same time, if you want to get out into a jumping off point with Sabbath, Master of Reality is the best one to do it with. A lot of people would recommend Paranoid. I think Paranoid is a little oversaturated. A lot of the songs, everyone knows, but some of these I think are some of their darker, more better songs. Sweet Leaf, great pop smoking song, and then you got After Forever, Children of the Grave, which is probably one of my favorite Sabbath tracks. Lord of This World is another favorite of mine. Interesting side note that the Nativity in Black cover album with came out quite a few years ago. A bunch of different bands doing Sabbath tracks. Corrosion of Conformity does a version of Lord of This World that's just out of this fucking world, man. It's fucking awesome. And then the closer, Into the Void. This record here is definitely a must own. I definitely would put this in anybody's starter kit. Check it out if you haven't. Moving on. This is another one of those bands that's really under debate. A lot of people love them or hate them, but you can't deny their impact on metal and the scene and actually bringing metal to the masses, and that is the band Metallica. You can't really talk about metal without them coming up because they're an important band, and Ride the Lightning is a sterling example of that. Their second record, as everyone should know, but those of you who don't, this is when I think Metallica really kind of came into their own in their classic lineup. So there's just so many great tracks on this record. I mean, I could say every song on here is great, and they are, but just some standouts would probably be Fight Fire with Fire, For Whom the Bell Tolls, Fade to Black, Trapped Under Ice is one of those hidden gems of Metallica that like not a lot of people get into, but you know, I don't see why. It's a fucking amazing track. And of course, my personal favorite, Creeping Death. Definitely get Ride the Lightning if you're going to start off with metal. Good stuff. Moving on to another one of the big four. A lot of people would recommend their third album. I think it's their third album. If you want to count Haunting the Chapel, it would be their fourth, but that's an EP. We won't go into that, but sorry. Anyway, Slayer, LOH. Great record. It's definitely the classic Slayer lineup, of course, but it's just a better album than Show No Mercy, in my opinion. Standout tracks, of course, the title track, At Dawn They Sleep, Praise of Death, Necrophiliac, Crypts of Eternity. Great stuff. If you don't have a copy of Hell Awaits, I don't know what to tell you, man. Pick this bitch up. You won't regret it. Moving on to another band that's really pivotal in metal, especially the British scene of metal. These guys, I mean, they stand alone in almost everything that they do. I'm not really big a fan of their newest record, but you can get into that with my reviews here. But Iron Maiden, Power Slave. This is a classic Iron Maiden disc. It's probably my favorite album in their entire catalog. Great stuff on here. Aces High, 2 Minutes to Midnight, Flash of the Blade, and my personal favorite, the title track. Definitely a must-have for any beginner starter kit of metal. Definitely check this out. Another great British band. A lot of people This is not a lover or hate 'em band. This band is respected universally by everyone, especially their frontman Rob Halford, and that is Judas Priest with Painkiller. A lot of people would recommend British Steel or whatnot, but I think this is probably their heaviest album that they've got. It's definitely my favorite. I think the title track alone is worth the price of admission on this one. I picked up this copy for like $5, man. I mean, you can't beat a killer metal record for $5. Standout tracks definitely, like I said, Painkiller, Hell Patrol, Metal Meltdown, Nightcrawler, A Touch of Evil. This is a really good fucking record. The riffage on this is just fucking insane. Definitely put this in your starter kit. Moving on. This band is my personal favorite band of like all bands. I love almost everything this guy does. Danzig 2, Lucifuge. I think this is the best album ever recorded, ever put on tape or CD, vinyl, whatever. I got a vinyl copy of this that was fucking expensive as hell, but it fucking sounds amazing. Standout tracks: Long Way Back from Hell, Snakes of Christ, Killer Wolf, Tired of Being Alive, Her Black Wings, Devil's Plaything, 777. Forget the fact that this is probably the lamest cover art ever, but man, this record is just a monster. It's very blues. It's very experimental, especially in the early stages of Danzig's solo band. But I mean, I can't recommend it enough. I think it's the best thing ever. My favorite album of all albums of all time. I mean, put this in your starter kit. Definitely pick it up. And finally, this is a thrash metal band. I think they're from Germany or something. I can't really remember where they're from, but Kreator, Coma of Souls. This is a fucking amazing record. There's not a bad track on it. Just to get in, it's like When the Sun Blazes. Well, When the Sun Burns. Sorry. Title track, People of the Lie. I mean, this is just an amazing, amazing fucking record. This was the first album I owned by Kreator, and I think this is probably one of their best. But you know, some would disagree. Some you would go with like what was that record? Oh, I forget, man. I'm not even going to talk too much about Kreator because, you know, I'm not really familiar with a lot of their catalog, but this one is definitely one worth picking up. Kreator, Coma of Souls. But, you know, 7 discs. Tell me what you think. You know, would you recommend these to someone, or, you know, would you just dismiss my whole opinion on this? Let me know down in the comments here. You know, like, subscribe, whatever you want to do, and I'll see you with Volume 2 of the 7 Discs of Hell very soon. Take it easy, metal brethren.